and also it is very important. Okay, so these have the time boxing. Okay, every, let's say, sprint planning, it might be having around 8 hours only. Okay, or 2 hours per week. So daily
Yeah.
stand up is time box of only 15 minutes per day.
Yes.
So then sprint review, it might be having 4 weeks. I guess it is 4 hours,
Mm.
and this sprint retrospective will be having 3 hours. Okay. So these are very important. So at the end of after releasing the software, and they will take the feedback and they will discuss what is went wrong and how the, if nothing is wrong, so how to be improve. Like, so it kind of they will discuss everything. They will take the feedback, right? So let's say I was facing something, right? So how to overcome of that issue, right? So in the next sprint, right? So this cycle will be continuously repeating because they'll be having a bunch of work to complete, right? So they will keep on adding many features. Okay, so now three roles we are aware, right? So what is his role and everything. Three artifact, right? One is product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. What is that increment? Product increment, nothing but the software is being developed. That is what they will call as a product increment, right? So then we have five events, right? So sprint planning, sprint execution, daily stand-up review, and retrospective, right? So this, if you remember all these terminology and everything, then good. So I'll show you one in one screenshot. Everything is explained about Scrum framework. Okay,
Mm.
so you can see the first step. So they will have the product backlog. Okay, so then they
Mm.
will go for sprint planning. In that sprint planning, they will pick the high priority requirements from the product backlog. Okay, so what is the sprint goal? Sprint goal is nothing but what they are going to like achieve, right? So to develop or test. So that is what sprint goal. What is product goal? Product goal nothing but is a client. What client is nothing but product backlog only, like user
Mm.
story. So then they will form the team, right? Scrum team, right? So they will
Yeah.
call it as a sprint. In that 4 weeks or 2 weeks to 4 weeks, right? In that sprint, in that cycle, right? 30 days cycle or 4 week cycle, they will be having daily stand-up meeting, right? Daily scrum. So after that, after 4 week, they will create a increment. I shown you one box, right? So that is application. So after that, they will give the demo. I shown you some video symbol, right? You can see that people are showing the video, right? How it is working, what they have implemented, right? Everything. After that, they will release the software and they will conduct the sprint meeting, right? So then, and what is the definition of done? Can anyone tell?
Finished.
Have discussed this. What is the definition of done?
Finished. Completed. Completed. Mm.
Yeah, all the user stories like sprint backlogs are completed. The application is
Mm.
developed and tested, and there is no defect or bug. Right? So then they will call it as every all the task is completed. Right? So that is what they call as a definition of done.
Mm.
So now I have shown you here Scrum team. What is Scrum team? We will be having it encompasses product owner, developer, tester, Scrum master. Right? So I have given here also. So Scrum team, what is accountable for creating a valuable software for every sprint, right? So cross-functional, nothing but they will be having cross-functional. Developer will be having some skill, tester will be having different skills, right? And that is more important, self-managing, right? So what is the size of Scrum team?
7 to 9 people.
Exactly. So let's say if 10 members are there, do we call as a Scrum team or what? No, right? If it is
No.
extending beyond that nine, it is not a Scrum team. Okay.
Yeah.
Then product owner. He is responsible for product backlog. He is the owner of product backlog and maximize the value of product. One person who representative from stakeholder. right? He is a representative from stakeholder.
Yeah.
So development team, let's think about the developer and testers will be there. They are responsible for sprint backlog, right? So they will work on sprint backlogs. So Scrum Master, he is accountable for the entire Scrum team. He will be responsible for the uh, assigning the work, setting up the meeting, and daily stand like a daily status, right? What is how much percentage everything he will update to product owner, right? So everything. If any one person who helped to create condition like effectively, right? So and he will act as a leader or a lead, right? So everything he will check if some person is lagging behind, he will find the solution and he will get it fixed. Okay, that is about Scrum team. So then we have a five events: sprint planning, daily Scrum, review, and everything, right? So
Yeah.
what is sprint? It is a container event, right? So it is a 2 weeks or it is a 4 weeks duration, right?
Yeah.
So that is all. That is what these are done for creating the achieving the sprint goal, right? So for
Yeah.
sprint goal, nothing but so they will be working on sprints, sprint backlog or requirements, right? Or user stories. In sprint planning, it is a at the start of the sprint, right? They will. I told you, right? It is a time box of 8 hours. Or I will zoom out here. It is a 8 hours, right? So attended by Scrum team. So they will inspect, right? Inspect or go through the product backlog, right? So product goal, what is the goal, right? So and everything. Then they will create a sprint backlog from that. So then daily stand up. It is a time box of 15 minutes, right? Every day. So when they will conduct at the beginning of the day, right? So it is attended by all the team, like only not for product owner, except product owner, right? So only like tester, developer, scrum master will be there. Okay. Then sprint review at the end of each sprint, before this sprint retrospective, right? So once sprint review is done, they will go for retrospective. Okay, it is not like that. So they will not conduct daily stand up until they have discussed about sprint, right? Or until they have finalized the sprint backlog. So one by one, okay, these are very step by step they will follow. Again, it is a time box of 4 hours, as I mentioned. So sprint retrospective, again, it is a end of the sprint. After the sprint review, time box of 3 hours, all the team will attend. So they will they will discuss how the sprint went, right? So if they have any challenges or if they have any, let's say some tools will not be there, so it may be taking more time. So then they will bring up that dependency, right? So they will introduce that or they will buy that tool, right? So everything. So this is for okay. So next, coming to, we have already discussed what is product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment, right? So they are interlinked each other, right? So what is product goal? Product goal, it is a discuss the future state of product or software application, right? That is
Mm.
their goal, right? So let's say you are working on some software. So what is the product goal? It is a future state, right? It should work like this, something like that. Goal is belongs to sprint backlog, right? Again, it is a single objective for sprint. What does it mean? So if they have come up with only five sprint backlog, so they will focus on only on that only, not on the remaining product backlog. Right? That is what single objective. Right? So definition of done, obviously, it is a quality measure of required for the product. Right? So at the end, work is done, everything. So then they will follow the definition of done. Okay, so also I have given here some of, I will share this snapshot, not to worry. Because in one shot only you will understand everything. Okay. So what is time
Mm.
box? I have given what is what does it mean like stakeholders? What is the refinement? And we have Scrum values: accountable, responsible, commitment, usable values, velocity. These are we have discussed, right? So just go through. This is the entire Scrum cycle. Okay, that is how being followed in any software. So it is a daily routine. Okay, it is not like a let's say you are working in some company. If they are following Scrum framework, you will come up with this situation. Okay, that is how we will be working on this. Okay. Some requirement will assign to Padma, some requirement assigned to Prashanti, so they will be start working on it. So they will go for testing the application. If they have faced an issue, they will log a ticket and they will discuss it. Okay, it is just kind of daily routine, okay, roles and responsibilities. So now you understand that. So it is very important. Like time boxing. What is the time period? Whole hour will attend. So what is the like why it is important? Why they will conduct, right? And also I've given tips. Okay, how it should be interactive. All right. In let's say in retrospective meeting, what all you have to be discussed, right? You have to focus on both the fact and feelings. What does it mean? Fact means what happened during that cycle or during that 30 days cycle, right? Everything, and you have to gather the information. That means you should be having some proof, right? Let's say you are facing some issue, you should be having that. What is that issue? Everything you have to, like you have to. That will help us to improvement, right? So continuous improvement. That might be tools or relationship. If let's say some developer might be fighting with you, right? So that is also you can, if he is not always right, he is not able to understand you queries or his queries. So it is again a conflict, right? So that will impact your progress, right? So and you should be very honest and encouraged to solve the problem, right? So and even if everything went well, right? Let's say everything is went well, so then you have to be like what to be done better than that, right? Or you can give the guidance for the next sprint also. Same thing if it is happening, right? So these are the tips you can follow to make that retrospective meeting like uh, very attractive. Okay. So next, we'll understand what is the difference between Agile and Scrum. So what is Agile? It is a development methodology or it is a model for incremental and iterative approach. Scrum is it is an implementation of Agile, right? So they will follow the Agile principles and core values. We will be discussing that what are the Agile principles. Okay. So Agile software development has been widely seen and suited to environment way small but expert, like I told you, right? So it might be more than many Scrum team will be there. They will divide in some teams. So it is widely used. And Scrum is ideally used in project. Okay. So and where the requirements are rapidly changing. Right? So I told you, right, if they are focusing on Agile Scrum framework, the requirements are getting changed. Only, let's say if the requirements are continuously changing, right? So then they will follow the Scrum framework. Okay, in the Agile process, leadership will play the plays the vital role. Like what does it mean? Like management team will be like executive, account manager, those level they will follow the principle of Agile. But in Scrum, it is a self-organizing and cross-functional. What is cross-functional team? What does it mean? Hmm, one can.
Cross functionality is two
So
two functional.
they will be having different teams. Let's say cross-functional team, nothing but developer and tester, right? So different skills, right? That is what they will call it as a cross-functional team. So
Mm,
then compared to Scrum, in it is more rigid method, so it is not much room for frequent changes, right? So it
yes.
just says only it will talk about only on principles, not in the process. So but here in Scrum, user quickly reaches to the changes. It is flexible to adapt at any time, right? Even at the end of the, even if you let's say have completed software, tested thoroughly, if in case if in between, if they have changed their mind, right, they will say, okay, I do not want to be displayed this pattern. Please remove it. Then they will obviously they will quickly they will make the changes to that. And Agile involves the collaboration and face-to-face interaction between member of various cross-functional teams, right? So again, they will be having a lot of teams, or if they are working in big project, right? So they will be having like a meeting in big, like wider circle. So in here there will be Scrum, right? The collaboration is achieved by daily stand-up, right? So they'll be having a daily interaction with your Scrum master, developer, tester, right? But product owner will not be there. But later they will update to product owner what is how the everything is went in that. Okay. So these are the some differences are there, but you just go through it, not to mandatory, so not
Mm.
just to understand. So then we have Agile, Scrum, and principle. We are talking most of the time, right? So what all principles are there? Principle, I think, but like rules and processes, right? What to be if you follow that process, then you will be achieving that target, right? So in Agile principle, the first one is they will welcome the changes requirement,
Yeah.
even it in late deployment, development cycle. Let's say you have already started working, already you have completed 15 days. In between, they will suddenly ask, I need this requirement to be added very urgent. And uh, they will welcome that changes. In Scrum principle, it is a self-organizing. I told you, right? Nobody will ask you do this, do that. It is a self. It is a right. So you have to be do and focus your work on yourself, right? So the work is shared to the different team members, right? So you have to work on that and for the growth. Okay. So then here, business people and developer will work daily toward the process cycle in agile principle because developer are main important here, right? So and they will work with business people, right? So they will understand the requirement and everything, logic and everything. So here in collaboration means nothing but it is the interactions, right? So you should be having awareness, articulation, and appreciation, right? Appropriation, and also consider project management as shared the value creation process with the team working together to offer a high value. Okay? So these three I have mentioned, right? So you should be having awareness what you are doing and what how it is important in terms of client articulation. Nothing but you have to do some extra like artifact making the so you have to create that environment, right? Like if somebody is sitting in some meeting rooms, they should be only related to that project only. Let's say they have some sticky notes or some graphical representation, anything, right? So it should be appropriate, everything, okay? So, but these are some principles, okay? They will follow. That is how they will follow, right? I told also many times, time boxing, all the principles, they will be having limited because first of all they will not be having the time, right? So they'll be having strictly 4 weeks. Within that only they have to complete the work. So that is why it is very important to follow the timing. But in different models, right? We have discussed about waterfall model, spiral model, right? V model. So those phases are not time boxed. Those are flexible. Okay. So these are the Agile and Scrum principles. Now let's understand what is the advantages. Why we are following with this Agile, right? So what is the? Can you tell me why exactly? Like let's say, so why? What is the main advantage of Agile methodology? If you following Agile methodology in software development or testing, what is the main
It
benefit of?
allow to change the requirements at any time.
Exactly, it is 100%, right? So if the requirements are changing frequently, that is only possible in agile development methodology, right? So customer continuously get the look and feel, so they will each and every day they will be getting update. What is how it is
Mm.
how, where there are everything they will keep them up to date. Right? So
Mm.
and each sprint provides customer with working software. I told you, right? So it is a frequent release. It is not a let's say 6 months. Let's say complete software requires 6 months, but they will give the piece of working software, right? Let's say login in home page. In 1 month they will release it, so customer will be happy because their product is released at least some amount, right? So that is how they will, and the development are quite responsive to the changes the requirement. This is again right that we have discussed. So and it will be consist two-way communications, right? So where the customer are involved and all the stakeholders are involved. Okay, let's say I'm working on some application. Okay, so let's say it is demo show. Okay, let's say you're working on login page, you have completed everything. So you have to report, right? So every day, or your team leader, team manager, everything, and that manager will update to the client. So they'll be having all the visibility of the project progress, right? So today what they have done, what is the issue they are facing, what defect, how many defects are there, who is working on what defect, right? So everything they will discuss it. So, and they will fulfill the business requirement, right, by creating the product efficiently. So then what is the disadvantage? I told you, I think yesterday, if the project is very big, right? So
Hmm.
if the project is complex, right? So it is very, because here they will be sticking going with sprint, right? So and also let's say you have already developed some part of requirement. So again the client is coming. I don't want that product now or requirement. Remove that, right? It is a waste of effort, right? It might be developer effort or tester effort, everything, right? It is a kind of that, right? So, and requirements are not clear, right? Because it is a requirements are getting changed. We don't know when the requirements are getting changed, right? Suddenly they will come and they will ask to prioritize this and that, right? That's what. And it is a comprehensive, right? Like it is a complex documentation now not prepared. I told you, right? So if the project is very complex or big, right? So you cannot go for, you cannot prefer this agile methodology, right? So these are the two disadvantages. I think, yeah, okay, only those two disadvantages.
Your voice is not clear. It's breaking.
Okay,
It's
so
breaking
now,
sometimes. Yeah,
oh, okay, maybe now is
it's
it
fine now, but
fine?
when in the middle it's breaking. It's not clear.
Okay, so what I was telling, so disadvantages. There are one refer, all right, you cannot refer this agile methodology. So then the second one, what I was explaining is, let's say you have already developed software. Let's say you have completed the coding and testing in login phase. Suddenly they will ask, and I don't want that requirement, right? So then it is a waste of your effort by developing and testing that product, right? Or the requirements are not clearly or crystal clear, right? The requirement at any time, the requirement may get changed. So those are the disadvantages. Okay, so just go through it. It is not complex to understand, so it is very easy. Some if you have some overview and understanding of agile, right, so that is enough. Okay, it is not like that you have to define whatever it is mentioned in this document. Okay, you can just understand the concept, and whatever you understand, you just form a sentence and you can say it. Okay, and now we will understand the importance of agile and its different framework. What are framework we have told? One is Scrum framework, another one is Kanban framework, Extreme Programming framework. These are there, but they are not using anywhere. Okay, so most of the all the companies are like going for, because it is a common agile framework. Scrum only they are using. So what we have discussed so far. So now that is about entire agile Scrum framework, like how they will decide the uh, requirements, like how they will conduct the different meetings to in order to complete the work, right? So and how they will release and how they will communicate each other, right? Everything. Okay. So now let's understand more on, so what all process, right? So how they will split the user stories, how they will work on estimation techniques, right? Because this is very important, right? So you should be aware of how you can split. Let's say if the user story is very complex, you have to divide small. Let's say there are books. Okay, there is a requirement of books. What type of books are there? Like we have different books. You have to go for categories. You have to split out, right? So and might be. kind of that, right? And let's say you have a apparels and shoes. It might be men or women or kids, right? So there are many different categories. That is how you have to split out. Then you have to analyze it, right? Splitting is nothing but it is a process of breaking down one single user story into smaller stories. I told you, right? So let's say you have a user story validation of apparel and shoes. Okay, so then you have to break down, right? So like if it is for only uh, for men and women or kids, everything, right? So that is how you have to divide it, right? So that is what they will call it as a user story splitting, right? So rather than complete story, right? Because it will not give more detail, right? Let's say if I say apparel and shoes, I'll be in confusion. Is it for men only, or is it only for women, or is it only for kids, right? So that is what. Instead of doing that, you have to do the splitting, right? Because that is how you'll get some more idea on how to estimate, right? How many test cases you can validate, right? You can divide it, right? So then this is one technique they are using. Okay, so it will help the team to deliver the value to customer in early and often. Okay, so and again based on the priorities, right? High priority. Based on that, they will take the requirement and they will split it. Okay, so here I have given here how what is the technique they will use, how they will use actually. Okay, so here story splitting is it is can be challenging for team. Right? Let's say somebody will not be thinking in that way. They will think in different way. Right? Right. So that is what it is a challenging. Many fall into the types of splitting stories by task or technical requirements. Right. So they will focus on only technical requirement, or they will focus on only by doing the task. What does it mean? Let's say you are validating only for men and women. You are taking all the combination, but sometimes you are not looking for technically, right? Technical requirements, right? Where it has to be stored and what is the price. It has to show all those technical details, right? So what is the review? Let's say sometimes always they will show only a high review product first, then they will show a low review product later, right? So all those technical requirement, right? So rather than standalone small user stories still deliver the values. Okay, so here, so that is not right way to splitting the user story. So this is why dozens of different splitting user stories taking team to use some common splitting pattern explored here. So now we have to understand the workflow. First technique you can go for workflow. Workflow nothing but so how will interact, right? So let's say in order to validate this section, let's say I will go for jewelry section. Right, so this is a workflow. You have to log in, then you have to click on jewelry, then the page will display. So this is the scenario or flow or the different pages, right? So you have to identify, right? So what is the more importance of that customer, right? So why, what is he is expecting on this, right? What all detail has to be shown, right? Everything. Okay. So let's, for example, let's say you are a admin, but you are looking for publishing or some content. Okay. Let's say some newspaper are there. Okay, how they will split the newspaper, or let's say Prashant you want to publish something, or let's say uh, if anything is there you want to publish me publicly, you want to share some news, right? So how will split the user stories, right? As an admin you should draft it first, you have to write it what you want to publish, right? That is very important, right? What content. So then you have to schedule the content, right? So how much time it will take to complete it. So then you can go for uploading. Do I need to upload the multimedia, right? So what all different channels you want to publish that content, right? So all those criteria they will take into consideration before splitting the. This is the one only one requirement. Okay, you just need to publish the content, but you have to divide, right? These are very important. This will give you more picture, right? It will help you to how to publish your content very effectively, right? So then, like a second one, verification in data, right? So variation in data, right? So you can split by using different data, right? As I told, like entered into software, it might you should have a correct username, password, incorrect username, and correct password. Different data you will enter to validate that software, right? So then, so here splitting user stories I have given here as a admin. You need to schedule the content by manually typing a date and time, and you need to schedule the content by selecting a date and time down the drop down. So let's say you can select the time and date. You can either you can write it down by manually, or you can select by drop down. I told you here. You can see some drop down they have given. Some people they will use instead of, if the values are very less, they will use some tick mark. You can select 8 or 9 instead of drop down, right? So or let me show you here. It is up to you, right? You might be having from the drop down, or you can select with this, right? So I have a drop down here. Okay, here you can see here. This is the calendar up and down, or you can just scroll it down, right? So what exactly you are looking for, right? Date you can have, you can select from drop down as well, or you can type manually, enter manually. Okay, then you can schedule the content by selecting the date. Then you can decide, okay, no, I want to select the date by drop down only. Okay, so this is the how they will decide. It is a just, it is not confusing. It is just what exactly you are looking for and how will decide it. What all factors are having dependency. It might be data dependency. It might be content. Right? It might be date and time. It, everything you have to take in consideration. Then you have to uh, like you can divide the user stories. Okay, that they will come as the story point we have discussed, right? So this much hour I need to work on this user stories. That is how they will make it, they will decide it. Okay, user story by identifying what you need to make it work, I told you, right? So and then later you can adding to other functionality, make it perform even better or easier or more scalable or secure way, right? So then, and later you can, let's say admin now he want to working on edit the content also, whether it is able to edit or not, right? So, or you should have a approve or reject for that content, right? You have to break down all those features into smaller stories. So that will help the development team to build the uh, requirement very quickly and essentially to keep that agile release condensed. Right? So now you can say here how to decide when user stories are small enough, right? How will you decide, right? So what is a good criteria for good story? What is the traditional way of splitting the user stories, right? So a technique called hyperfine story splitting that will help the like. Sometimes people will use some tools to split the user stories. Okay, you just need to enter. It will give some hint, right? So some AI tool will be there. But now they're not. Let's say I'm typing here something. Okay, so I'll take. Okay, so I'll type here. It will give some suggestions. Let it load. It is just still loading. So they're using sliding, right? So you can see instead of selecting, you can just slide it. So or here they have given drop down. Why they have given drop down? What options it has? It has close option, reset, apply. These three are clickable. Here also radio button they have given. Why they are not giving checkbox? So all those, it is a business decision. Okay. So now we discuss about how the user stories are splitted. User story nothing but it is a requirement. So they will use the technique like based on the complexity, right, and uncertainty and tiredness. Right? We'll discuss on this. What does it mean? Story points are indicative measure that agile team use to estimate the time that will take to complete a task, right? So let's say you're working on 1 month or 4 weeks of sprint, right? So you have to use the techniques which we have already told, right? How why they will say only 2 weeks or why they will take only 4 weeks, right? In order to complete that, they will use this measure like this process. Okay. Story point like estimate usually occur during the product backlog grooming session, right? What does it mean? What is it? What is that session? In what session we will discuss product backlog? Like what we will discuss? How we will pay attention. What is that meeting?
Sprint
Sprint,
planning.
sprint review.
Sprint planning meeting, right?
Sprint planning.
Exactly. Right. So which is conducted by development team and testing team as they review the product backlog. Right.
Yeah.
So it is absolutely critical that people are performing. They're just going through it. They do not know how it is critical. They do not know how it is easy. Right. So they will based on their priorities. Right. So let's say something they will making a login page is very simple, but they will mark it as a high priority. But it is confusing, right? So we cannot say it is a critical, right? So the team is that is responsible for actual development and testing process. Is responsible for allotting the user story point for team, right? In the items in the backlog, right? So then they will go for refinement session. Same only they will discuss. Refinement means they will pick it, which one to pick, right? So out of that, they will pick might be that. Okay. Story point as one dimensional measure unit, they will aggregate three factors, right? First, they will focus on complexity. Based on that, they will give I need the, if the right if it is tidy S means if you're having more work, right? So then uncertainty means you are not clear on that, right? So then again it will take to understand, right? So let's say some user story is very complex or product backlog is very complex, which has uncertainty, right? It doesn't have more details. So based on three factors, they will give the timelines. Okay, so I'll take in here a practical example. Okay, let's say we have a two development team, team A and team B. Okay, if you give same product backlog for team A, let's say if I give assignment for Padma and Prashanti, okay, Prashanti may say I'm getting 10, I need 10 days. Or Padma says no, I will complete in 8 days. One second, I'm getting call. Hello, yeah. Ah, okay, so that's what, right? So team A can say, okay, I need 18 days. Team B says 30 days, right? So why it is because they're not equally skilled, right? They might be having different experience, right? But developer of team A are rather than optimistic, right? So more confident. I can finish this in this time only. But team B is very lack of confidence. I cannot finish this work by using that. So that is how. So because of that only, because of to reduce this confusion, so they will have to take the factor of this, right? Complexity, tiredness, and uncertainty, right? So how long or how much effort will need this story to take if everything goes well. So let's say you are having five requirements. See if nothing is everything is goes. What does it mean? Let's say everything environment is working perfectly. There is no slowness. There is no skill like under people, right? Based on that, if you consider all those factors, you can do everything perfectly. What if some issues are there? You are not able to connect internet, or some application is not loading, Sometimes it is showing continuously rotating, right? It is not taking to login page. If you come up with that issues, so it obviously it will not reach target in that specified time period, right? So you have to consider all those factors, right? So let's remember some same skill, same motivation is there, same experience is there, same task is there. Okay. So let's assume team A and team B all are equal, everyone. But you will get a different estimations, right? In that estimation. If you think in positively, you will get 18 days. If we think in negatively, right, by taking, we don't know what will happen in future, right? It might be sometimes the server might be down. If the server might be down, you cannot launch the URL. So let's say if I do some mistake here, it will throw an error. During that period, see here 404. What you do if you get this error, right? You lost your day, right? Entire day. So that is also you have to consideration. Right? The first thing is you have to keep in mind that very estimation can only be considered for the team has to be provided. Like you have to, like what you call, you have to give the details. Right? Why it is 18 days? Why it is 13 days? Right? So you have to give all the extrapolating and estimation to the different team to make no sense at all. Right? If you give all those, you have to consider all those factors. Right? A team will always estimate the same way or if, as more sprints are completed, the team will have predictable measure. So let's say one you are working in login page, or let's say let's say only earlier only book section is there is no sections electronics or computer. So next sprint they will add the computer and electronics. If your same person is working on same application, you will be having more idea because you have already worked on book section, right? So that is what it means. So he is able to assume it. Okay, I can complete this work and during this period. Or developer, he has already completed these two sections. Similarly, in different category, he is adding it. The same code is there. Only changes are there. Only naming changes are there. Right. So that is what they can predict it. If the same team is working, which is already worked on earlier sprint cycle, it is very easy for them to guess it. And velocity will be stable as long as circumference is stable. For example, same team, same project, same skills. I told you, right? So let's say this week Prashant is working on this application, but next day if you ask Prashanti to test in different application, again she needed time to understand that application. But if you give same application for her, she will finish in like less time only because she has already worked 1 week, right? So that is what it should be stable, right? It should not be changing the resource or tester or developer. So if a new developer are added, let's say developer A was there, he unable to, he left the company, right? He with the replace of his like him, they will add a new developer who do not have the application knowledge, right? Obviously, he will take more time to understand. So that time he will say, I cannot finish in 18 days. I will need the 30 days, right? It is based on that. So in order to that, you have to make it stable every day.
Your voice is breaking.
Everything.
Yeah. Your voice is breaking.
Same team you have to keep, same skill person you have to
No,
keep,
your
right?
voice is
So then,
breaking.
is it fine now, or I can share again?
Yeah, I think the network
Internet.
is some network issues from your side.
Yeah, yeah. I connected through phone. Uh,
Okay.
okay, let me reshare again.
There's only for 6 minutes left. How are these useful in real time? The one you're
Sorry, come.
saying.
Uh-huh.
How are these all useful in real time? Like in if you work in the company, how are
So
these?
that's what I'm taking here, right? So let's say we have a, if you're working on demo workshop, this is the application.
Mm,
Okay, it is a dynamic. We don't know, right? It is a,
mm,
if you're working in a project, suddenly
mm,
they have a some new launch, new software they're launching it. Obviously, you should be able to predict it, would have some basic knowledge of how the software testing will work, right? What is software testing? What are those things? How we'll test it, right? What basic knowledge you should have, so that will sufficient for you to pick up the next work, right? So project means it is a changing. Even I don't know. Like for example, so I am working in a 30-day cycle. They suddenly next cycle they will add the new requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So by using my knowledge, which I work earlier, so I will use the same knowledge and I will guess it. I will assume it. So they will give all the documents. So what type of electronics? They're selling only camera and cell phones. Right? They will give all the details and even so they will give the all demo also they will give. I need this and everything. They will conduct this meeting. Right? If you have a meeting, so you can discuss everything. If you have any doubt, you can ask them. So they will help you. Okay, the client will be there always if you have any doubts. Okay, so you can discuss with them. I'm not understanding this. Please elaborate. Right? So they will help you. So by using that, you can pick it. So we will discuss that how to design the test case, how to work on that like in live.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first we are understanding basic. I have given here in depth. So how to write the test case, how to execute, how to log a defect, how to close the defect, right? Everything it is there, but we are just assuming, right? How they are doing the task, right? So now we have pros and cons. Like that means we'll be having disadvantages, which we have already uh, discussed very high level. So product owner creates a product backlog. Okay, he will prioritize the requirement, right? So the Scrum team will conduct sprint planning where the tasks are necessary to complete the item on wish list broken into small and more easily in chunks. Here we are discussing on overview, what all we are discussing, right? And team will create a sprint backlog. Then they will go for divided duration. Then they will work together, right, every day by conducting what has happened yesterday. What we are going to do, is there any defect, right? So then like we have a this certificate is there if you want to go for Scrum certificate. Okay, so I shown you that one frame, right? It will show all the everything, right? So how it should be, how to keep them motivated, and because as a Scrum master you have to be motivated the team, right? You should not be what you call descriptions. If you are making favor on developer not on tester, it is not a good environment to work, right? So you have to be maintain all the balanced work environment, right? So you should not target anyone, right? So if he is lagging behind, you have to help it. So you should be having all those focused and motivated area in order to become a Scrum Master. Okay. So then this is the cycle followed by Scrum team.
Okay.
Okay, in the project development. Okay. So disadvantage, Scrum team can help the team complete the deliver quickly. Okay, what is this? It is a advantages. Okay, and it will ensure that effective use of time and money, right? So in that they will stick to the timelines. Large projects are divided into easily measurable sprint, right? I told you, Scrum team one, two, three, they will divide it. So developers are coded, tested during the sprint review. Work well, fast-moving development project and team get clear visibility, right? What is because they will be conducting meetings, right? So they will give the demo and everything. So what is the client expectation? Everything they will having a clear visibility. Okay. So then just go through that. It is not like you know everything, which we have already discussed, but I have point out what all these and everything. Okay. So now we'll be having very important topic. From here onwards, we will know like how testing life cycle, right? So, for example, I'll give you overview, right? Okay. So first, as a tester, what you will do, you will analyze the requirement. You have to prepare the
Mm-hmm.
what is test plan, what all things are there, how will develop the test case, how will write a test case, how will set up the environment, which we have discussed in mobile testing, right? So same thing here. So I have given here what is the entry criteria when you start your
Yeah.
testing, when you stop your testing, right? That is very important, right? So then what you will do in requirement phase, right? How will do? what is the definition, right? So I have given here as well how to write it in. I'll create this table as well to make it understand. So then we have a execution phase, test execution phase, right? So what does it mean? So what you will do in that? If you find a defect, how will log a ticket, right? So how will prioritize, right? What is test case, test scenario? These are very important because whenever you go for testing profile, this is the way everyone will ask, what is a test scenario, right? How will divide everything we have given very in depth. Okay, and how will let's say you are working some requirement. So how will you prepare a report? What all it should have? What is the standard format? Right. So everything I have explained. Okay, and how will what is the error? What is the defect? What is bug? What is failure? Right. All looks the same only. What is the difference between them? Right. So how will I close a defect? How will open a defect? Right. So everything I have given and what type of defect we have. Right. So everything we have in the upcoming session, and also we have a how to prepare a bug report, right? What all it should have, what ID, everything we will discuss, and what is a high priority, what is low priority defect, what is medium, why we will keep it as a medium, right? So everything is there very in depth on that. Okay, so I have explained that, and yeah, we have many topics to cover, and also how we'll log a ticket by using what tools are using currently in market, right? So that is also I will show you. Okay, live. And if you have any doubts, we will discuss definitely. So, or if you are giving any suggestion, I'll take it and I'll make it interactive.
Okay. But I'm
Okay,
just letting you know that from 23rd to 20th, I'm not available.
23rd,
To 28th.
28th.